Hey, I'm Mike Baccarella, and today we're going to take a look at the standard Prelude to a Kiss, and we're going to look at comping through the whole tune while keeping the same note on top. Let's take a look. So this is a great comping exercise that will help you to get more command of all your voicings and understand all the different ways extensions work. Now, this isn't necessarily a way you would comp through an entire tune. You wouldn't necessarily keep the same voice on top the whole time, but it's a great thing to have a command of because you might want it for, for one section of the tune, and it forces you to think about all your extensions in a different way. I'll have all the changes to Prelude to a Kiss scroll by the screen if you don't know the tune as I start to explain this exercise. So what note you put on top is kind of arbitrary. You could justify most notes on a chord somehow, but by some sort of extension. For this exercise, we're going to pick the note E. Now, there may be a chord or two where we need to change that note, but we'll address that when we get there. So let's start. The first chord is D7. So I want to have E on top. So if I put D7, put E on top, give me a D9. The second chord is G7. Keep that E on top, gives me G13. Next chord is C7. Now I could play this voicing, but I don't particularly like that voicing. So I'm going to play C9 like this. Next chord is F major 7. So the E in that case becomes the major 7th. Okay, now for the next chord, this is where E starts to become a problem. We have B7. Now, B7 has a D sharp as the third. So we could do two things. We could change the note, or we could play a B7 sus. Either's fine. So there'd be B7 sus, which you can picture as an A triad with a B in the bass. This chord gets used a lot in R&B music. Or we could change it. We can move the note a half step down to a D sharp, which is a third. Or we can move it up to the sharp 11, which would be the F natural, or the E sharp in this case. Either's fine. Or we can keep it E. Totally okay. Next chord is E7. So E works over that great. So I'm going to play E13 here. Got my flat 7 in the bass, my third here, and 13th there. Next chord is A7. Time to keep the chromatic movement down. Play this shape. A7 sharp 9, because the E is the 5th. So as long as I have a 5th on the top, I'm good. So my third here, flat 7, sharp 9, and 5th. Next chord is D minor 7. So the E, that's the 9th. Next chord would be G7. So put G13 again. A minor 7, so that's the 5th. D7, 9. D minor 7, so make D minor 9. G13. And C major. So C major 9. As long as I have that third on top. To A7. So in this case, I'm going to make the bass motion go up a half step. And this takes us through the first A section. You see how I made the E function over every single chord in some way or another. So that repeats the A section. So all of that we can repeat again. So we get to the end, so we get to C major 9 again. And the second A section, instead of going to A7 to repeat the A section again, it goes to B7. I can play the B7 sus, the B9, B7 sharp 11, any of those voices we talked about. It's totally cool here. Now we change keys and we go to E major 7 for the bridge. So I'm going to play this voicing. Got the major 7 in the bass, 3rd, 5th, and root. The reason I chose that voicing is because the next chord is C sharp minor 7. So I can just move this note, keep everything else the same. So all the voices don't have to move. Then we have F sharp minor 7 flat 5. So I'm going to play this one right here with A in the bass, F sharp, C, and E. Basically an A minor 6. Puts F sharp minor 7 flat 5. And then we have B7. So any of those choices we made before we can apply, or we can change it up and pick a different one than we chose last time. Now we have G sharp minor 7. Now G sharp minor 7 is really a sub for the E major 7. So we could play E major 7 there again. But if we want to stick true to that sub, the E doesn't really work so well. So we can just move it to D sharp in this case. Move it just down a half step. Next chord, G diminished. So I'm going to move up and I can have E back in the top voice. F sharp minor 7. This is the same voicing as the F sharp minor 7 flat 5, except we're just raising the 5th to the C sharp. Again, B7. Then we repeat. E major 7, C sharp minor 7, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7. So I'm changing the top to D sharp in this case. Then we change to E minor 7, A7. We have D minor 7. Then it goes up in a half step. So over E flat minor 7, we can't play E. So then we have to make a choice. Do we want to go up to an E flat minor 9, put the F there? Or we can just put the root in the top. Either way, we're moving a half step. Or either one's fine. Now the next chord is E minor 7. We put the root back on top. And we have E flat 7. So again, we can play E flat 9. Change that note up again. Or we can put the flat 9 on the top and have the E up there. And then we repeat the A section. So this is a really good exercise. The point of this lesson is not so much to have you learn my arrangement of the chords, but to have you experiment with this concept and try different notes. And you can try just about any note and try to make it work over all the different chords. So I really hope you'll mess around with that. It's a great way to learn a lot about your extension, see how any note could function over just about any chord. It'll really improve your comping ability and your knowledge of the fretboard in general. So thanks for checking out the lesson. Keep practicing. See you next time.